We're live on YouTube and we are live on Facebook. Welcome to today's live Q&A. And today, the main reason for the Q&A is the latest release, which is the Caverns of Angetenar, which is book 10 in the Mastery of the Stars space opera series. So let's start by telling you a bit about that, I guess. So those of you who are familiar with the Mastery of the Stars series will know that there will be 36 books in the series. Each of the books is one of the dramatic situations. You can check out what the dramatic situations are on Wikipedia. Just Google 36 dramatic situations. And so this one is a kidnapping, essentially. So the story is based on Helen of Troy, which was kind of touched on in the Star Masters, because the Star Masters was the story of Agamemnon. The dramatic situation was one of revenge, was it? Or is the assassination of the returning hero. So in the Star Masters, President Kirkland was the Agamemnon character, and he was cruelly murdered by his wife and her lover in the Star Masters. Hope that's not spoiling too much. I don't think it is. So in the Caverns of Angetenar, I should probably give you the story so far, because that's one thing actually that I'm going to do in all of the Mastery of the Stars books, is that I'm going to put the story so far at the beginning of each one, because if you haven't read the whole series, it can be a bit confusing. So that is going to appear soon, the story so far in each of the books. But the story so far for book 10 is that our heroes, our team, Aito and Seven and Tori, along with some new characters, Pirate and Wit, who we met in book 9, the Hermits of Chaldean. They've just returned to this universe to find the old Republic has been taken over by the Zoxans, and so they're basically going around the old Republic trying to find communities that are resisting the Zoxan occupation, and they find a community of Aojun, which, if you've read the Star Masters, you will know that they fought a war against Zistriatov, exactly because Luap, who was an Aojun, kind of eloped with a character called Eno, and this caused the Sistratovian War, which ended badly and ended with the death of President Kirkland. So, and that was kind of based on the Trojan Wars, and And kind of the same thing has happened again in Caverns of Angetenar. But it doesn't, it's not really a repeat of the Star Masters, because it's looking at Trojan Wars from a slightly different perspective. We look at it from the perspective of Aito mainly. Our our intrepid team are captured by the Zoxans, and we then find out more about the Zoxans than we knew before, and the story then develops, and they return to Angetenar, into the caverns, which which they have visited before in previous books. But in the caverns is a community hiding from the Zoxans. And in actual fact, they end up entering into conflict, but not with the Zoxans directly, but with the Aojun, because Pirate, who joined the team in book 9, has got together with Luap, who is clearly not very happy with his wife, and so he goes off with Pirate this time, and the Aojun are not happy, and so then we end up with a siege in the caverns, which ends badly for the settlers that are hiding from the Zoxans, and then we essentially, the story revolves around the attempt of Aito and Seven and the others, their attempts to escape and find somewhere that is safe from the Zoxans and from the Aojun. And so that's basically the story. The big news for this book is that 2 major characters are killed off in this book. 2 major characters that have been in the series from book 1 meet their ends in book 10. So I'm not going to tell you more about that. You're going to have to read the book to find out who they are and exactly what happens. But I think it's safe to say that it will be a bit of a surprise. So that's book 10. Book 11. The cover's already out for book 11. It's up for pre-order in Apple and Barnes and Noble. I think possibly Google Play and Kobo. I'll have to check that. It's not up for pre-sale yet on Amazon, because if you are on my email list, you will know that Amazon have prevented me from doing pre-orders for a year because I forgot to load the manuscript for the Hermit of Chaldean in time, and so they're punishing me. I got into trouble with them a bit later as well. They suspended my account for a bit because they said I didn't have the copyright for the cover of Hermit of Chaldean, which is not true. I did have the license for the cover image, but that wasn't enough for them, and so they suspended my account. But what has happened now as a result of this is I have commissioned new covers for the entire series. So if you go on to any of the online sales hubs, you will see that the whole Master of the Stars series now has new covers, and the covers have been created by my book designer, who you can find at goonwrite.com, and he has used artificial intelligence to create these covers, so they are completely unique. There's no stock images, nothing like that in them. So they're completely unique covers. And have a look at them. You can have a look at them on the website as well, mjdees.com, and see all the new covers there. I will be this year, or in 2023, I'll be launching some more anthologies. So at the moment, you can only get books 1 to 3 together in a bundle, but I will be creating bundles of 4 to 6 and 7 to 9 and possibly even 1 to 6, so that if you haven't read the previous books, you can get them in a bundle rather than getting them individually, which is a little bit cheaper, but it's also easier to read. So that's something to look forward to in 2023. So book 11 will come out on June the 25th, and that is called The Walking Lake of Quawa. Great titles, these, aren't they? I don't come up with them myself. The Walking Lake of Quawa, and that is kind of based on the dramatic situation is an interrogation, I think. So it's kind of based on Oedipus, when Oedipus is questioned by is it by Medusa? No, who questions? Oh, the Sphinx. The Sphinx questions Oedipus, and so it's kind of based on that dramatic premise. But I'm not going to give too much away, because I'm actually basing the story on something a bit more contemporary. But I don't want to say what until I've actually written it. But basically, the story is going to be a bit more about corruption within the kind of resistance to the Zoxans, if you like. And Ito and Seven are going to be going around trying to uncover the source of this corruption. So usual contemporary themes in that one. That will be out June the 25th. In the meantime, I'm taking a break from writing space opera, and I'm currently working on historical novels. I'm hoping to release 2 historical novels, which will eventually form the prequels to Fred and Lear. Now, Fred and Lear, in case you haven't read it, is set in the Second World War, and it's based on the story of my grandfather when he was captured by the Germans, and my grandmother, who suffered a lot during the war, trying to raise 2 children during the Blitz. So that's basically the premise of Fred and Lear, and there are going to be 2 prequels to that. One is set in the 1920s, and it's the story of my grandfather and his cousin, who both joined the army, but his cousin disappeared. So it's the story of kind of what happened to that. It's provisionally titled The Shanghai Policeman, which will give you a clue as to which parts of the world are included in that story. It's going to touch on a lot of British colonialization. So it's going to look at Ireland. It's going to look at India and Shanghai, China. So Britain's influence around the world at that time. And there's also going to be a prequel to that, which is going to be based on my great grandfather's experiences. He was also a soldier. He was also in the Northumberland Fusiliers, and his experience was based mainly in Africa. So that's going to be looking at Britain's involvement in Egypt and the Sudan, in Crete, and in South Africa. So that's going to be looking at the Battle of Omdurman in Sudan, the expulsion of the Ottomans from Crete, and the Boer War in South Africa. So both books are going to be kind of looking at Britain's involvement in different parts of the world, different times, and that will be based around the life stories of my great grandfather, my grandfather. That will be kind of the backbone of it, but also looking at kind of British behaviour around the world at these key points of history. So I'm working on that at the moment. No release date for that at the moment because basically I don't know when I'm going to finish it, and I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. But it's going pretty well at the moment. I think that should be well. I've got quite a lot of material for the first book in the trilogy, and also kind of the backbone of the second book. So I'll keep you posted of how that goes. You can keep in touch by signing up to the email list. If you go to mjdees.com and click on, I think the link is get a free book, something like that. If you click on that, that gives you the link to sign up to my newsletter. And if you sign up to my newsletter, you also get a free copy of, I think it's The Doomed Planet, which is book 1 in the Mastery of the Stars series that I'm giving away at the moment. As my alter ego, because I have the M J Dees pen name, but I also have a Michael Dees pen name, which is where I publish my psychological suspense books. Oh, there's some. I'm in Rio at the moment. Normally I'm in Sao Paulo, but I'm in Rio at the moment. This is an Airbnb. I don't know. You might be able to hear some noisy neighbors at the moment. You might also be able to hear the ceiling fan because it's quite warm here in Rio at the moment. Yeah. So the Michael Dees pen name. That has my 2 psychological suspense books, Unwanted Suspicion and Leave to Remain. And on that mailing list, I've just recently revealed the cover for book 3, Boredom of God, which I started writing, but I've paused that in order to write the historical fiction books. So once those historical fiction books are out and book 11 of the Mastery of the Stars series is out, then I'll go back to Boredom of God, and I'll keep you posted as to when the release date for that will be. That is that. There will be 2 new books in the dystopian series, Collapse. At the moment, there's 3 books in that series: Hatred, Collapse, and Insurgency. There will be 2 more books after those, but they won't get written until after the historical fiction or the psychological suspense. So there'll be quite a wait for those, I imagine. Meanwhile, the Mastery of the Stars books will be launched probably every 6 months now, which will give me time to write the other books. And the plan at the moment is that these 36 Mastery of the Stars books will run into a new series, which I'll start writing at some point, which I may actually start launching before I finish the Mastery of the Stars series, and that is going to be more kind of historical fiction. But the first book in that series will kind of start at the creation of the world, and then it will go through to the kind of first civilizations, the Sumerians, and the Great Flood, these kind of legends of Gilgamesh, and those kind of things. And it will go through the how they then spread across Europe and became Celts and into the UK and the original ancient Britons in the UK. Eduardo's asking, "What am I doing in Rio?" We're on holiday, mate. My wife's family is from Rio, and so we're here visiting her family. Yeah, so that's going to be a new series. Goodness knows when I'll start writing that, but my idea is to kind of, for the Mastery of the Stars series, for the end of that to kind of feed into this new historical fiction series. So the idea, I guess, being that the events that happen in the Mastery of the Stars actually happened thousands of years ago, in another galaxy or another universe, and that perhaps some of those characters will end up here on Earth. So that'll be interesting to see how that works out. That's the idea at the moment for this new series, that some of the characters from Master of the Stars will end up on Earth thousands of years ago. So let's see how that goes. What else do I have to tell you? There is, as usual, there is a competition for signed copies of the Caverns of Angetenar. If you want to win a signed copy, then what you need to do is send me an email at mj@mjdees.com, telling me the first word in chapter 14 of the Caverns of Angetenar. Up to 5 lucky winners will be receiving copies of a signed copy each of the Caverns of Angetenar. All the previous competition winners have now been sent their copies from the previous competitions, with the exception of one unlucky person in Australia, because at the moment Brazil is still not accepting packages to be sent to Australia. So I still have that, unfortunately. The good news is that next week I will be going to the UK. I'm at the moment trying to sell a flat in London. I'm going to be buying a house in my hometown, Hull, in the northeast. And so I thought it might be a good idea to go over there and have a look at the house before I put an offer in on it. Kind of makes sense to have a look at the house before I spend lots and lots of money on it. So when I go to the UK, I will post that book to Australia. I promise. It must have been about a year now, more than a year probably. I've been waiting to send this book, so apologies for that. Uh, but you will receive it soon. Um, I think that's about it, really. What else do I have to tell you? We've talked about Mastery of the Stars. Talked about the next book in that book 11 in that series. We talked about the dystopian series. Talked about historical fiction. Um, what else haven't we talked about? We talked about the psychological suspense series on Michael Dees. Um, I think that's it really. Um, those of you that are on the mailing list, I'll be sending out the annual questionnaire in the next. I think the next email is due on January the 8th. So every year I send out an email um, asking you about yourselves, asking you to tell me a bit more about what books you like, um, how you like to read your books, a bit more about yourself, that kind of thing. So I'll be sending that out on January the 8th. And in that questionnaire, as always, you get to voice your opinion on what you would like me to write next. So if you would like me to continue to write these historical fiction books, then you can tell me that. If you want me to set that aside and start work on the dystopian book straight away, you can tell me that. If you want book 3 in the Teresa de Silva series, the psychological suspense, you can tell me that. Or if you want more Master of the Stars, more often than every 6 months, you can do that. Or you can ask me to start this new series if you want. So join up to the mailing list at mjdees.com. Click on the link to get your free book. Sign up to the newsletter, and then on January the 8th, I'll be sending out this questionnaire where you can have your say as to what I should be writing next. Yeah. Um, I think that's about it, really. We're coming up to the 28-minute mark. I normally don't like to go too long on these because then people that watch it that don't watch it live, people that watch it on the replay, um, don't want to make it too long. Otherwise, they don't want to watch it all. Um, so we'll sign off now. Thanks for watching, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on the replay. I don't know when the next one of these will be because the next book launch isn't scheduled to June, so it might not be until June unless I manage to launch a book in the meantime. So whenever it is, thanks for joining, and I shall I shall see you next time. And now you're going to have to watch me trying to shut down various um, applications